The open wave stitch is a beautiful lacy open stitch pattern that looks great in cotton. That's what this is. This is a cotton linen blend, and it's perfect for summer garments, summer accessories. It has a really great wave-like effect with the chains in between groups of single crochet and double crochet. So this is a really great stitch to have in your belt, especially as a designer. So in today's tutorial, we're going to learn how to do this stitch. Let's get started. For today's tutorial, I am going to be using this Cotlin yarn. This was sent to me by We Crochet, and it is a DK weight cotton linen blend. So it's great for summer. It has a really great drape, and you can find this on their website. I'm also using these Skein Savers, and these are they're part of a new product line by the Hook Nook, and they're so great for keeping your loose skeins together so that the loose ends don't fall off and get all tangled. But you just wrap them around the skein just like that, and they just hold your yarn all nice and tidy. So you can find these at We Crochet as well. All right, for our wave stitch tutorial, you are going to want to chain a multiple of 10 plus an additional 4. So for today's tutorial, I'm gonna go ahead and chain 24. Now your pattern might give you a different multiple of 10, so go ahead and begin with whatever chain your pattern calls for. You'll want to place a slip knot on the hook, tighten it down, and begin your chain. To complete a chain, you simply yarn over and pull through the loop on the hook. That's one chain. I'll do that again. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. So repeat that for however many number of times your pattern calls for, or if you are learning this stitch and following along with this tutorial, you'll want to chain 24. When you complete your chain, go ahead and meet me back here for row 1. Okay, so here we have a chain of 24. So to begin row 1, what we're going to do is be working single crochets into the back bump of this chain. Now, if you look at a chain, this is the top side or the front side, and you can see each stitch is a pair of loops that forms a V shape. When you flip it over onto the back, each stitch has a bump or single loop running down the middle. So we are going to be working into that back bump. And I just find that this gives the wave stitch a nice foundation to begin with, instead of working directly into the chain. So we're gonna wanna start in the second chain from the hook. So not counting this loop right here, count over 1, 2, and then turn it around, and that's the back bump that we'll be working into. Now, sometimes it can get tricky to see and get your hook in there. I just kind of use my thumb to guide the hook into that loop. And we'll just be completing a single crochet, so it's just a yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both loops, and that's one single crochet. And you'll do that into each chain into the back bump. Yarn over, pull through, pull up, yarn over, pull through. Insert into the back bump, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through both. So go ahead and continue working single crochets all the way down your chain, and when you've completed that, you can go ahead and resume the video, and we'll go ahead and continue on with row 2. Okay, so here I have completed row 1. So you should have 23 single crochets if you're following the row count for this tutorial. And as you can see, if you look at the underneath, it just leaves a very nice foundation. Whereas if you were to just work directly into the chain as normal, it would only leave one loop on the bottom, and you can see we have this nice 2 loop, almost looks braided. So it's just a little bit more sturdy. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and continue with row 2 now. So you wanna chain 1 at the end of row 1 and turn your work. Now the wave stitch is worked in an easy to repeat sequence. You're going to be doing 3 single crochet, then a chain 3, skip 2, 3 double crochet, chain 3, skip 2, and basically repeat that across the row. All right, so here's what that looks like. You want to start by working into the very first stitch, place a single crochet in that stitch and in the next 2 stitches. So that's a total of 3 single crochets to begin the row. Then you want to go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then we're going to skip 2 stitches on the first row, 1, 2, and we're going to be working a double crochet into the next stitch. So to do a double crochet, you want to yarn over, insert your hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That's 1 double crochet. Now we're going to repeat that 2 more times, 1 in each of the next 2 stitches. Yarn over, pull through 2. So again, yarn over, insert the hook into the stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and here's what it should look like so far. You can see that first wave starting right there. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Skip 2 stitches on the main row and work single crochets now into the next 3 stitches. So you alternate back and forth between single crochet and double crochet, 3 at a time, with a chain 3 in between and a skip 2 on the first row. Okay, so that's my 3 single crochet. Now I'm going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to work 3 double crochet. Skip 2 and 1 double crochet into the next stitch and 1 double crochet into each of the next 2 stitches. Okay, and then we'll get ready for our final sequence here. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, skip 2 stitches, and then finish the row off with 3 single crochet. 1, 2, and 3 in the very last stitch, 1 into that last stitch. Okay, now it is possible to work the wave stitch in multiples of 5, but what that's going to do is change the pattern a tad. Now I know for the summer wave sweater, which is a sweater that I have designed, that's a free pattern on my blog, the children's sizes sometimes need to use a multiple of 5 because of the length of the sweater. So when that happens, when you use a multiple of 5 instead of 10, you will end with the opposite stitch you started with. So in this case, it would have ended here, and you would end with a double crochet when you began with a single crochet. Starting with a multiple of 10 gives you a row where you end with the same stitch, same type of stitch. All right, so that changes the row repeat a little bit. If you are doing multiples of 5, then from this point on, all you have to do is repeat what we just did in every row. You'll chain 1 turn and start with your single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet. You always want to be placing the opposite stitch on top of the one below it. But since this particular sample ends with a single crochet, the row 2 repeat will be a little bit different. So I'm going to show you that next. Okay, so here is what row 2 looks like, and you can see we have this nice wave pattern. So to begin the second row of our wave stitch pattern, which is row 3, we're going to go ahead and chain 2 this time because the first stitch we'll be working when we turn the work is a double crochet. So you're going to go ahead and chain 2, 1, 2, and then turn your work. And instead of beginning with a single crochet, we're going to begin with double crochet. You're going to place a double crochet on top of each of those single crochets from the previous row. Okay, so 1, 2, and 3. Okay, and from here it's just the same sequence repeat. So we're going to go ahead and chain 3 next. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to skip this chain 3 space, and we're going to work 3 single crochet on top of these 3 double crochet. So 1, 2, 3. Again, chain 3, 1, 2, 3. And now we'll be placing 3 double crochet on top of these single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Skip the chain 3 and work 3 single crochets on top of these 3 double crochet. And 3. Okay, and then for the final repeat, chain 3, and now we're going to end with 3 double crochet. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that is row 3, the second row of the wave stitch pattern, and you can see that it makes this nice, the chains make these nice waves. And it's just really great for visual interest. It's a really pretty lacy stitch. So from this point, you will repeat row 2 and 3, alternatively back and forth until you reach the desired height. Or if you were working in multiples of 5, you would just repeat row 2 all the way until your desired height. So go ahead and do that, and then meet me back here and I will show you how to finish off the end of your wave stitch section with a nice single crochet border. Okay, so I have worked up a nice little swatch, and as you can see, you just get some really pretty effect with those chain stitches. You really do get a wave-like appearance when it's going from a single crochet group up to a double crochet and back down again. And it's just a really pretty texture for anything summery. In fact, over at Pineapple and Pine, which is a crochet community, you can find us on Instagram, pineapple.and.pine. We're also on Facebook, but we have done an entire crochet along with 3 summer garments, a tunic, a short sleeve cardi, and a long sleeve sweater, all using this stitch. And so if you're interested in making one of those pretty summer garments, you'll want to head over there and check us out. But to finish off this swatch, I like to put another row of single crochet across the top, just because it started with a row of single crochet. It just keeps it nice and mirrored, and it also gives you something sturdy to work into if you're switching up to a different stitch next. Anytime you just work into a chain space, it just kind of grabs the chain weird, and it's just not my favorite thing. So let me show you how to finish this off with a single crochet row. So what you're going to do is chain 1 and turn your work, and then you're going to go ahead and place a single crochet in each of those first 3 stitches, just as we have been doing. So 1, 2, 3. Now the next part is where it gets tricky. Since when we started down here at the bottom, since we only skipped 2, then we only want to put 2 into this chain. We don't want to put a single crochet into each chain. And again, I like to work in the back bump. All right, in this case, since you're looking at the top, you'll be working underneath those top 2 loops. So essentially you're still working into the back bump, you just don't have the back bump facing you, if that makes sense. All right, so I am gonna go ahead and turn it a little bit so I can find that back bump, because the first one is tricky to find. Depending on how you pull your work while you're working, sometimes it can get really nudged down in there and pulled really tight to where it's hard to find. Okay, so what I like to do is I like to go ahead and grab the back loop so that it doesn't get pulled too tight where I can't find it. Then I insert my hook into the front loop and then slide it back down into that back loop that I grabbed. And now my hook is inserted underneath those top 2 loops with the back bump on the underside of my hook. Okay, then I can create my single crochet. All right, then you want to skip the middle chain. So I skipped this one altogether, and the 3rd chain is easier to work into than that first one. For some reason, that first one is just really tricky to get into. So for this one, I'm just going to go right underneath those top 2 loops, making sure I keep that back bump on the underside of my hook. I don't know if you saw that. And then complete your single crochet. And that's how it looks. So it just looks a lot nicer than just wrapping your hook around the chain. And then when you work your single crochets around the whole chain, they can shift back and forth. It just doesn't look very nice in my opinion. So that's a way to get it looking sturdy. And it gets easier to do as you go along. So let's go ahead and do it again just so you can see. So I'm gonna place 3 single crochet in each of the next, or 1 in each of the next 3 stitches, total of 3. Okay, that brings us to our next chain 3. All right, so again, that first one's tricky. So since we're looking at the top, we're working underneath the V. So I grab the back loop so that it doesn't get tucked in there. Kind of grab it with my thumbnail. All right, then I insert my hook into the first loop. If you can get it in there, just like that. And then I kind of place that back loop onto the hook as well. All right, and there my hook is underneath those top 2 loops with the back bump on the underneath of my hook, just like that. Okay, and then I complete a single crochet as normal. So pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Then skip the middle chain and insert the hook underneath these top 2 loops, keeping the back bump on the underneath of the hook, just like that. The back bumps on the underneath of the hook, and complete a single crochet. All right, and then you just continue doing that as you go across. Okay, so now we're gonna finish with 3 single crochet into the last 3 stitches. And there you have it, your open waves stitch swatch. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And if you use this stitch for anything in a pattern or a design, be sure to tag me. I'm a Plush Pineapple on Instagram and Facebook. I'd love to see what you create with this stitch. And again, you'll want to join our Summer Waves Crochet Along if you're interested in making any of the 3 garments that we've designed using this stitch.